Here's more wrestling news for August 3rd, 2022, and we're starting off this afternoon with AEW, as the company's highly anticipated Fight Forever console video game is still in development by the former development of WWE games, Yuke's. Since the game's announcement, fans have been eager for updates, and a listing on Amazon UK has revealed a ton of features. In the description, it said the game is coming to PS4 and PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The listing also says that the game combines nostalgic arcade wrestling feel with innovative AEW finishers and will also feature online co-op multiplayer. In addition to the standard matches you'd expect, AEW Fight Forever will also have the unsanctioned Lights Out match, exploding barbed wire death match, though there was no mention of blood and guts. The listing on Amazon has since been deleted, but it did list December 31st, 2022 as a placeholder release date, but fans will have to keep waiting until AEW Fight Forever eventually hits stores. One name who's probably not going to be in the game is Jack Evans, who opted to not re-sign with AEW when his contract expired in April. Evans has since been forging his own path outside of AEW, and while he's made it clear that he enjoyed working for Tony Khan, he did have one complaint. Speaking with the two-man power trip of wrestling, Evans gave his vision for AEW Dark, saying that wrestlers should get more character work and angles on the show so that they're not as shell-shocked when they appear in front of larger crowds. AEW has two YouTube shows, Dark and Elevation, and both could stand to have a little more character development, according to Jack Evans, but that's a decision only Tony Khan can make. While AEW could do with some changes, the company has proven to be a hit with fans since launching in 2019, though not everyone has been impressed. Eric Bischoff has made a handful of appearances for AEW in the past, but he's also been one of the promotion's harshest critics. In an interview with Ryan Satin for his Out of Character podcast, Bischoff spoke about the comparisons between AEW and WWE and how he believes there is no comparison between the two. The product is boring. It's just nothing new has happened, nothing has changed, nothing has emerged, nothing has evolved, it's the same formula. Up until recently, the same process. We're talking about WWE, which is by far the dominant company. There is no competition. AEW is not competition, no matter how much Tony Khan wants to believe it is. It's not. We're in the same business, Tony. That's not the same thing as being in competition. You're not taking market share, Tony. You're just in the same business. It's kind of like having a little mom-and-pop hamburger stand on the corner and saying that you're in competition with Arby's. You're not. It's worth saying that Bischoff has experience appearing for both AEW and WWE, though of course spent much more time with the latter promotion. With comments like these, we doubt that Tony Khan will be ringing up Bischoff to bring him back to AEW, as while Eazy-E doesn't believe AEW is even close to competing with WWE, Khan feels much differently. Now, Triple H's rise to head of WWE creative and talent relations as of late comes mere months after he confirmed his retirement at WrestleMania 38, leaving his boots in the center of the ring. The game's decision to retire wasn't his own, but instead forced by the cardiac event he suffered last September, but there's at least one superstar who hoped to get one last match. Sitting down with Wrestling Inc., AJ Styles spoke about wrestling some of WWE's biggest stars, both past and present, and how he one day hoped to share the ring with a cerebral assassin. Well, the last person I tried was Triple H. I didn't get him. I don't know who the next guy is or if there will be another one. Now we've got the younger talent coming up. Maybe I'm the match that they would like to have. I would like to have some good ones before I retire. Who knows? I don't know who's going to be next. None of us do. We'll just have to see what happens. Styles has become something of a go-to guy for legends to face, as he's faced the unretired Edge at this year's WrestleMania and took on The Undertaker in the Phenom's final match. Sadly, Styles never got his match with Triple H, and it's incredibly unlikely that he ever will, as the Phenomenal One's impressive career will always have one big name missing. Now, this week's Raw was a huge win for WWE, earning an average 2.23 million viewers, but it went ahead without one of the show's big stars. Kevin Owens was conspicuous by his absence during this week's show and hasn't wrestled in over a month for the company. During the latest Legion of Raw, Vince Russo suggested exactly what is keeping Owens from the ring, saying, "I think he's hurt or something, I don't know, But bro, that's the thing. Bro, I cannot tell you how many times I worked with hurt wrestlers and it didn't matter. There's a million things they could do and not wrestle. They don't disappear. You keep them active, you keep them alive, they just don't go away and then reappear. If Owens is hurt, WWE is at least trying to hide it, as the prizefighter did appear on the July 18th Raw, hosting Riddle on the KO show. We'll have to see when Owens gets back in the ring, but if the former Universal Champion is hurt like Russo expects, that in-ring comeback may not be for some time. WWE has seen a lot of changes behind the scenes over the past month, but even with Vince McMahon gone and Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Triple H having control, there is still some corporate shuffling going on. In a press release, WWE have announced that they have hired Snapchat veteran Craig Stimmel as the new SVP and head of global sales and partnerships. Stimmel's 3 years as head of global brands at Snapchat will certainly be useful for WWE, as the popular app is recognized around the world, and he'll now be bringing his skills to WWE's brand of sports entertainment. We've got some news from WOW Women of Wrestling next, as the all-female promotion is set to launch very soon. One of the biggest scores for WOW is having April Mendez, aka AJ Lee, as an executive producer and color commentator, and the former WWE Divas Champion has made a major announcement. In a video announcement, it was confirmed that WOW will return to TV on September 17th under the Paramount CBS banner, which will make it the largest ever distribution deal in the history of women's wrestling. In a statement, it is added that WOW has been cleared in 100% of the US, as well as Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, with other deals expected to come. This is some big news for WOW, which has had some issues, including the controversial tenure of Tessa Blanchard, which reportedly led to some female wrestlers refusing to work for the company. At one time, the company had plans to bring in Lita, who made it clear she would not work with Glow founder and WoW creator David Lane, in another setback for the promotion. After so many reports about the inner workings of the promotion, fans will only be able to judge the show for themselves when they see the finished product, but won't be waiting for much longer for that. Although it's been 5 days since Vince McMahon announced his retirement, the world of professional wrestling is still talking about his allegations and investigations of the former WWE chairman and CEO. Another man who is facing similar allegations is former WWE head of talent relations John Laurinaitis. Two men who haven't forgotten about Laurinaitis and some of his behavior, however, are former WWE stars Paul London and Rene Dupree. In an episode of Café de Rene that took place prior to McMahon's retirement announcement, Dupree and London discussed Laurinaitis and some of the allegations against him, with London also going in depth into his own history with the former Johnny Ace. He always kind of struck me as that dad who used to be an athlete but is now his kid's coach, but he talks a lot of shit and he acts like a been there done that kind of guy. And to his credit, he was during a lot of the peak times, like with the Dynamic Dudes and whatnot, even though I always thought Shane Douglas was the better worker of the two. I never delved into his stuff in Japan. I can't say he ever pissed me off directly face to face. He's not the kind of guy to deal with you face to face. So I guess that kind of says something about him. But there are certain people you can tell talk a bigger game than what ends up being the truth, so you start questioning the validity and the integrity of some of these people. And when they're in charge of talent, that's not always a good thing. As far as the allegations went, Dupree indicated that what was known of Laurinaitis was nothing compared to what could possibly come out. The stories that I know, that I'm not going to say publicly because I could get in trouble, this is just a fucking tiny little tip of the iceberg compared to the shit that I know of, Dupree said. So imagine the other shit that's out there. Are you glad John Laurinaitis has exited the company? Let us know in the comments section below. And we're ending with Rey Mysterio, who has always been a babyface in WWE, and his good guy persona isn't just for show. At SummerSlam, Michelle McCool sat ringside of the event and on Instagram shared a wholesome moment featuring the former world champion. During Edge's entrance, Rey could be seen interacting with Michelle and The Undertaker's daughter, and McCool said that Rey was simply the best wrestler and human ever. Mysterio has always had an incredible bond with his fans, and even after 20 years with WWE, that closeness with the audience remains as strong as ever. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.